Prior to the 2022 annual meeting, TSHA pre-recorded these two special sessions that were inspired by the publication of and definitely the reaction to a certain journalist-authored book published in June of 2021. That should ring some bells for all of you.
I think I've heard of it.
You might have. I was waiting for you to just brandish a copy. Thanks for not doing that. These two sessions were titled "Teaching Texas History in an Era of in an Age of Hyperpartisanship, and Forgetting and Remembering. Why Does Searching for an Accurate Past Provoke Backlash?" At the start of each one of these special sessions, the moderator read a statement that the views expressed in these panels did not represent the views of TSHA. But on the page where these videos are displayed, in the text interspersed between these two video blocks, you find the stated views of TSHA in the form of commentary from Chief Historian Walter Binger, which I will now read to you. Quote, "Just in case you imagine that TSHA never changes and still reflects the vision of the Anglo elites who argued that Texas deserves special study in and of itself, let me make two important points. Starting in 1912, when the name of our journal was changed to the Southwestern Historical Quarterly, TSHA has worked to connect Texas and Texas history with ideas, places, events, and currents of thought beyond its borders. As it did so, the membership and leadership of TSHA grew beyond the old Anglo elite to include a far more representative and diverse group of both professional historians and those outside the academy. These two sessions illustrate both the successes of moving beyond the myopic focus on Texas exceptionalism dominated by Anglo elites, and the struggles and tensions that remain part of that transformative process. They are another down payment in the ongoing effort to place Texas and all Texans in the Southwest and beyond." End quote. So if you weren't counting, that's 5 sentences and 3 uses of the phrase Anglo elites. If this were a drinking game and that were the trigger word, we'd all be pretty tipsy right about now. I think Dr. Binger is trying to tell us something. This type of messaging is not what is sent out to the general membership, but it is placed in spaces where academic historians will read it and, golf clap. The question I ask is, should the public not get to make an informed decision about whether they wish to fund such down payments as Dr. Binger describes here? Texas History Trust believes that they should. So one of the points he makes in this commentary was echoed by former state historian Light T. Cummins in his own comments as a moderator of one of these two special panels. So here I quote Dr. Cummins. "It's been my observation that what might be called the Anglo-centric, Anglo-American, triumphal, white-centered narrative of Texas history has predominated in this state for generations, and up until the last 40 years or so, many academic historians and journalists supported that." End quote. So here's two prominent Texas historians, lifelong Texas historians, openly making a point that our organization routinely makes, that it ain't 1950 anymore, and we don't teach history as though it is. Yet our liberal arts programs are populated by scholars of all the silo studies, women's studies, Mexican American studies, African American studies, the faculty of which, not all, but some, hold out this idea that their particular area of study is ignored, is underrepresented, is suppressed, is present tense. But these statements issue forth from departments that are wholly dedicated to those area of studies. I am of the opinion that the majority of popular and academic histories produced in the last 40 or 50 years were quite inclusive by any reasonable is the operative word there, measure. One may only imagine a reason why entire departments would insist otherwise. Texas History Trust reminds historians that talking about how we did education in 1922, say, surely has its place if they're moving forward to a unified and unifying history in 2022. We ask them to come out of their silos and together with the combined knowledge of an army of PhDs to produce a history of all Texans, with each group in the context of their times and in the context of one another, each group with their achievements and their flaws, interacting with each other on the historical stage. A product like that would be worthy of the name Texas history. As Dr. Stephen Hardin wrote recently in a piece published on our website, historians producing this unified history are duty-bound to make it readable and accessible to the people whom they serve, the public. Texas History Trust is not trying to be on the right side of history. We understand history doesn't pick sides. We are on history's side, period. Promoting facts and good scholarship, regardless of where that scholarship leads and the conclusions that it draws, and starting conversations about how our story is told and by whom. Because the story of Texas brings us together if we just allow that to happen. Our diversity is baked into our historical cake. The culture that we all are immersed in today as Texans is a confluence of Black, Anglo, German, Mexican, Czech, Vietnamese, all Texans, all bringing their best to the potluck and finding their place at the party. That we came up short in the past, and we did, and remain imperfect, because we are, is proof that we're human, just like our forebears, just like everyone's forebears for all of time. That heroes from groups who were once marginalized, persecuted, or worse are held up and celebrated in our story alongside the likes of, say, Travis and Houston. That is a wondrous thing. And the Trust will keep reminding historians and the public of that wondrous thing that we have, and asking historians, please produce a history that is not divisive. A history for all Texans that share and love this land together.